Alright, hi everyone. I hope you're all doing well. Spoke to a couple of you guys yesterday, and a few people said that they are unsure of a few bits regarding this first psychology assignment. So I just thought I'd put together a quick little video just to sort of rattle through a few bits about kind of how to go about structuring and answering this piece of work. So I'm going to attach this file to an email, so you guys will all have this. So this is vaguely how your work should be laid out. It's just a bit of a template that you'll need to kind of plug in your ideas and your work to. So you've got your title at the top, investigating psychology principles affecting sports performance. Pop your name and ID in there. So that would be Joe Blogs ID 12345. Oops. Apologies, need to put numlock on. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, whatever your student ID is. Course title, unit title, my name, Thomas King, whatever is fine. And submission date, which we're looking at the 29th of March for me. And then just a little declaration to say that you have written all of this work. So it's all your work, so shouldn't have any copy and paste in there. So I declare the work presented here as the product of my own endeavour and has not been copied. All sources are acknowledged appropriately. And then you can either just type or sign your name if you're going to hand it in printed work. Then on the next page, guys, nice and simple, title of the whole essay. And then we're going to break this down sort of section by section. So you don't actually need an introduction title for your introduction. You could just start typing, but I just wanted to put this in to kind of clarify. So a little introduction. So this, not in bold. This essay is to investigate the different factors of psychology and their relation to sports performance, whatever. All right, obviously make sure you spell check your work because I can't spell. And then we just going to have our 6 sections laid out nice and neatly with maybe a little bit of a conclusion at the end. So a couple of little bits to think about, guys. So your marks are for describe, explain, and analyze. Now, in this first section, if you look on the assignment brief, you've got to talk about personality traits, situational or social learning theory, interactional theory, and assessment of personality. So look, I've just typed a short paragraph at the beginning to kind of show what I would think is a pretty reasonable standard that you can all achieve to get good solid marks in this assignment. So we're thinking describe, explain, and analyze. And we're going to use either point example comment or point evidence explanation, something along those lines. So we're going to be using some ideas from the kind of the scientific literature, some of the key researchers that we've looked at through our lesson. So I've literally just spent a couple of minutes just typing this, but we might say something along the lines of personality is the combination of characteristics that make up who we are. Friedman and Rosenman, 1976, suggested that we typically see 2 types of personality, type A and B, and you might go on to explain a little bit more about type A's and B's, maybe give some sporting examples. And I've just said in a sporting context, we see athletes such as Paolo Di Canio show attributes of both personality types in his behaviour, which suggests that we're all made up of a blend of both of these, type A or B. This links to ideas on the interactional view of personality that suggests our behaviours are driven by both internal and external factors. This is in contrast to the ideas of early researchers such as Eysenck, 1958, who suggested that personality traits are inherited at birth and remain stable and unchanging throughout our lives. So have I described here? So I've given a brief description of what personality is. I have then gone on to explain about personality, talk about type A and B. I've also talked about talked about the interactional view of personality and how the situation that we find ourselves in, as well as our own kind of personal identity, then sort of brings out these personality traits and kind of makes up who we are. And then analyze, I've kind of contrasted this or compared this to some other ideas on personality. So I've then kind of compared the idea of the interactional view with the sort of what we might call trait theory, which is from Eysenck. So that's could be considered an analysis of kind of analysing, comparing, looking at other ideas in this topic. So guys, what I don't want you to do is get bogged down in kind of super crazy level of detail. If you're going to kind of lay it out like this, so you're going to describe personality factors, you're going to describe personality traits, you're going to describe the situational or social learning theory, you're going to describe the interactional theory, and you're going to describe assessment of personality. And then you're going to explain each one and then analyze each one. So I would think about personality traits, describe personality traits, explain them in a bit more detail, and then try and sort of weigh up like the pros and cons of the different ideas, and then go through each one of these in turn, providing that description, explanation, and analysis. So those distinction marks are for that analysis, which you're all capable of doing. A nice way to do this as well, guys, to kind of think about analysing those different ideas is to do a bit of a spider diagram for like personality traits, and think about how you might link in different ideas on motivation, different sports, whether that's team versus individual athletes, all these kind of things. You know, you've all come up with and shown some really good ideas in class, so now is the opportunity to put them down on paper. So describe, explain, analyze, and think point, example, comment. So look, if we think point, example, comment, so I've made my point here. So personality is the combination of characteristics that make up who we are. Then I've given an example. So Friedman and Rosenman, 1976, sort of briefly said what they sort of found or what they suggested, and then I would go on to give a bit more detail about that type A and B personality for my explanation. And if you follow that that sort of format all through your essay, you know, you're going to be in a good place at the end, guys, because you're going to have definitely hit those descriptions. You're definitely going to have used evidence, and you're going to definitely be hitting those explain type criteria, which is going to be at least a merit, certainly knocking on the door of a distinction. So guys, I hope this is helpful for you. Obviously, if you've got any questions, you want to have a one-to-one, whether we can set up a Teams meeting or something like that if you want to, just let me know, ping me an email. If not, I will see you next week. Have a good weekend, guys. Bye now.